Hello to Eden Live, where I am reading all of Eden by FREI live on Facebook and on YouTube. And indeed, these clips then do find their way onto Instagram, IGTV, whence they then bounce back onto the dedicated Eden by FREI Facebook page. So that's the cycle, that's the circle of media that is being invoked here. We are in the still pretty much first quarter, just about first quarter, certainly first third of volume 2, which is called Heart, which is where I talk more about matters of the heart, all manner of matters of the heart, than anywhere in the entire series. So if you want to get a feel for what my state of emotion was like at the time when I wrote this, this is probably about as close as you can get. Though it is perhaps worth pointing out, and this might be a good moment to do so, that of course I wrote Eden by FREI, the concept narrative in the here and now about the where, the wherefore and forever, between roughly 3.5 and just over 5 years ago. So this isn't entirely current, although it is entirely true, as true as fiction can be, even though it be autobiographical. And those of you who know me well will know that some things have changed quite considerably since then, but that is not the subject of our reading today. The subject of our reading today is chapter 4 in Heart, which is called Maxl. Still here. I wake up to a horrible dream. It's so horrible, I don't want to think about it. It could well be the second most horrible dream I've ever had, and I take issue with horribleness, so I go back to sleep once again, and I don't continue to dream, which I'm glad on. Maxl knocks on the door and wakes me up. I'm already half awake, but that means I'm also half asleep, and I'm hugging a cushion for comfort. He asks if I'm all right. I am puzzled. He's never been this concerned about me before. He says he's concerned about me. Maybe I made horrible noises in my horrible dream. It's possible. I blink at him and say yes, and I'm about to go back to sleep once again. He says it's nearly 2:30, which in German means 1:30, but means nothing to me at the moment because they've put the clocks forward last night and I don't do mornings well at the best of times. Maxl rustles about in my room while I drift back off to sleep. He keeps much of his stuff in my room, so it's a bit like having a live-in partner without the partner. It's a bit like a lose-lose situation, the worst of both worlds. The good thing, I suppose, we don't argue, though he moans at me. Maxl moans at me about England, for England. Every day he comes back from college, or from the bank, or from the tube, or from the post office, or from the supermarket, or from the park, or from the cafe, or from the pub, or from the pavement, moaning at me every day. He is German, so he's used to hyper-efficiency. He also lives in Berlin when he's not here, so he's used to an agreeable level of anarchic socialism. Objectively, I agree with most of what he complains about, but the complaining itself bugs me every day about everything. That, the fact that he moans at me in German. He makes it sound as if I were responsible. Maybe I am responsible. Maybe my quiet acquiescence to all things British, to all things English, to all things London has made me complicit in bringing about a college that charges an arm and a leg, but that has embarrassingly poor facilities and a bunch of students who, instead of standing up for their ideas and their rights and their freedoms, do everything they're told as they're told. And for a bank that charges an arm and a leg in fees, a bank account as much of a deal asking the Emperor of China for a slice of Tibet, and the tube that charges an arm and a leg but shuts down for weekends at a time and that runs late because one of their drivers has a bout of the sniffles and it goes on strike at the whiff of a command being changed in a staff manual, and that stops running at midnight when half the population is still about town enjoying themselves, and a post office that I can't think of what they might be doing wrong off the top of my head, but I can easily imagine that in Germany they run their post offices in a way that is altogether more, well, German, and a supermarket that installs machines that talk at you instead of employing people who serve you, and a park that is actually pretty much perfect if you ask me, but if you're German, you'll probably nevertheless find something to moan about, and the cafe that I'm losing my will to live. The pubs close too early, I know, and the trains are a nightmare. Get over it. It's London this, innit? I can't be doing with this much moaning, and I realise that much as I love him, if Maxl were my husband, I would have to ask him for a divorce right now. That would be terrible. Fortunately, he's only a very good friend, and I can love him even though he moans at me, because I know I don't have to own any of this beyond the level to which I just have to own my share of this culture that so irks him. Better still, much as I love Berlin, and I love Berlin, and I always still keep a metaphorical suitcase there, I don't have to move to Berlin with him just because he doesn't like London. I actually think he quite likes London, which also makes me think that maybe moaning is just a default state of his, and so he maybe also moans about Berlin at his girlfriend. Phew. I don't know. And I want to speculate because I'm troubled by my horrible dream, which I don't want to think about, and I also don't want to seem ungrateful or ungracious or ungenerous. I don't want to seem or to feel anything. I love Maxl. I've changed his name here, by the way, because I don't want to get him into trouble, nor do I want him to think that I don't love him just because he moaned at me. And I am grateful to him for being a good, loyal friend, and I graciously accept the gift of insight that even someone you love can get on your nerves to the point where you are quite prepared to wrestle them to the ground and slap them with a very wet fish. And I want to retain and hold on to the generosity of spirit that says, live and let live, love and let love be and let. And I realise I am actually moaning about somebody moaning at me, which is a little ironic. And I like little ironies, though I still don't like moaning, which I suppose makes it doubly ironic. And the whole experience reminds me acutely why I so much enjoy being single. I feel tempted to tell George about this, but obviously I don't, because I don't want to prejudice him against Maxl or against me. And I certainly don't want to tell him about the horrible dream, which he'd be bound to want to hear more about, the way I know George. And that is it for today. Next time, which in real time is on Wednesday in 2 days' time, and if you're watching this in your own time, it is whenever you feel like it. Will be the turn of a short literary interlude called Contentment. You'll be glad to know, and it is very short. And then that will take us to sort of more or less, nearly, maybe not quite yet, towards halfway into volume 2 of Eden by FREI, which is called Heart. Until then, do take good care, stay safe, and love and let love, and be well, and see you again very soon. Bye bye.